We finally have 100% confirmation on 2 of the big guest stars for the L Word Generation Q Season 3, so let's get into it. Rosie O'Donnell over the past couple of weeks has confirmed on her TikTok and Instagram that she will be returning as Carrie for Season 3 of Gen Q. And we don't know how many episodes Rosie is going to be in, but just the way she's been talking and saying how she's coming back in a limited capacity, that would make me think that Carrie is only going to be in a few episodes and probably less than she was in Season 2. What does this mean for Gen Q as a whole and for Bette and Tina? We'll talk about that after we talk about our next big guest star, and that is Vanessa Williams. She is returning for Season 3, and I know the rumor for a while was that she was not returning, and I did talk about that in a video about 6 weeks ago, I think it was, maybe it was less than that, but a Vanessa Williams fan account had said they had spoken to someone close or knew Vanessa that she was not going to be returning, and I did speak to my sources who said Vanessa wasn't on set, but they couldn't confirm it, and this is kind of generally why I don't talk about what other people say or rumors or speculation that I myself did not hear, because a lot of the time it just ends up being not true. And there is also people who blatantly make stuff up. I don't think that was the case here. I think, anybody can make a mistake. I've been wrong about things before. Like, at the end of the day, none of us are on set and there's no perfect person among us. So I don't think this was like making up or anything, but there are some people out there who make up really, really crazy stuff. So that's why I just try and stick with what I know, what, trusted people tell me, like, Chris, who's been doing this a long time. And most of the time, the people that I'm trusting are the people that are actually there on set, because, as I said, none of us are. So what did Vanessa actually say? Let's hear it from Vanessa herself, and then we'll talk about it.
I am going into Season 3 of the L Word on Showtime. Apple of Sister Jennifer Beals' eye for this particular season. Well, last season, Season 2, and now going into Season 3.
So Vanessa was at the BGR, which is Black Girls Rock. I believe it takes place in Washington, and she was there doing a panel and answering, questions. There was a moderator who was asking them. And just as a side note, these panels, I think that it's really great when actors do these, because I think it shows that you're really in touch with your fans and pretty down to earth. I wish more actors would do things like this. So Vanessa there spoke very briefly about the show, and I imagine that Vanessa will be back on set around the same time Rosie is, so maybe within the next couple of weeks. They are doing this weird kind of shooting at the moment, which they're working on multiple episodes at a time, and they did start episode 3 last week or the week before, and they are still working on episode 2. I do think the first one has wrapped or is almost wrapped, and they're also getting a lot of night shoots out of the way and things like that. Now, talking about what does Carrie and Pippa coming back mean, and how can we kind of put this into the Gen Q timeline, and what does this mean for Bette and Tina and everything in between. So if you are a eagle-eyed viewer, you will have seen this week some of the behind the scene pictures on set. They've been shooting in a gallery, and if you look at the pictures that are in the gallery, they're actually done by the same artist who did the Marcus Allenwood painting that Bette gives Angie in the finale from Marcus.
Called Her by Marcus Allenwood. I'm representing his estate. He's going to be my next show.
And in the finale, Bette says he's going to be my next show. And we know from the cliffhanger that Pippa had her big event, and that's what's happening in the last episode. So judging on just the fact that Pippa and Carrie are coming back and that they're doing the Marcus Allenwood show in the beginning of season 3. I'm guessing it's been about 2 months, maybe 10 weeks. And this also fits in with Angie and the whole college university thing, because we're guessing it's August, September, since she's going to be a freshman in school. So I know a lot of my audience, because I know you guys so well, will be saying, what does this mean for Bette and Tina? Now, personally, I was around when the OG was on. I watched the L Word from nearly the beginning. I started watching it in just before the season 2 premiere. And I was in high school when it came out. And I have always loved Bette and Tina. And when they broke up, I was like, oh, they're going to get back together. And then season 4, they still hadn't got back together. And I remember in that episode where Tina's on the pool float and they have that scene and like Bette's upset, I remember thinking them like, damn, this is like the perfect opportunity. Are they not going to get them back together?
That was surreal. Absolutely. Oh my God.
And then the finale happened and Bette's going to get the sign for Jodie and they kiss, and I remember being so angry and being like, oh my God, this is like the perfect opportunity.
And when she equivocates about whether it's a good idea for you to sleep together tomorrow night, I bow to your superior judgment. Good luck.
And I started to lose hope. And then She-Bar. Season 5, episode 4, that was it. That, you know, that was worth all the waiting, all the drama, all the will they, won't they, all of that. So I know a lot of people say, oh, I just want to see domestic Bette and Tina, but that's just not how TV is. Like this isn't just the L Word, this is every other show. I mean, think about Ross and Rachel, think about all of those, you know, big couples that everybody loves. Like, they go through trials and tribulations, but at the end of the day, like, do you really think that Laurel Holloman would come back to acting just for, you know, co-parenting? And all these little hints and things like that, where, you know, Jennifer Beals posted that picture the other day with co-parenting, like, and she's going to university. What co-parenting? There's only so much co-parenting you can do for a kid that's like turning 18 and going to university. I just think it's pretty much a given. Jennifer Beals and Laurel Holloman really obviously believe in Bette and Tina. Jennifer Beals is an executive producer and has a lot of say in the show. And not a lot of people talk about this, but there is a really early interview with Marja Lewis Ryan, who's the showrunner. And she talked about how when she started watching the L Word, I believe she was in university because she went to NYU, and she talked about her friend renting the DVDs because she didn't want to rent them because, you know, lesbian. And she talked about how she saw Bette and Tina as like what she wanted. Like, she wanted a wife and like a kid and stuff like that. It is what normally happens with kind of the big couple of the series. Like, look at Ross and Rachel. They got together literally as the show was ending. And I don't think this is going to be the scenario here. I think maybe they might get back together at the end of this season. Sorry, my camera died. I'm talking about Bette and Tina for too long. But bottom line is, this is the way TV is. Like, they know the big couples, they know what gets people watching, will they, won't they? And at the end of the day, I've seen this before. They did this in the original, and I think they're doing the same thing here because they know how passionate people are about Bette and Tina. And I also think that it's kind of a different experience watching a show while it airs. So a lot of people, this is the first time that they're watching the L Word live and watching episodes, you know, week to week, or having to wait a really long time between seasons. And for, you know, me and the people that watch the OG show, again, like, we've been here before. Like, this is nothing new. I waited 2.5, nearly 3 years for them to get back together. Maybe it was even longer. and I'm sure we'll wait around the same amount of time again. So especially if you watch the show all the way straight through, you know, it could have been only a few days that Bette and Tina were split up, but it was a really long time in the original. So what I'm saying is, don't lose hope and keep the faith. We'll get there in the end. And if you want to stay up to date on all of the season 3 news for Gen Q, make sure to follow me over on Instagram and Twitter. I do have a second channel where I talk about frauds, cults and scams and some really interesting topics over there, so go and check that out. I also have memberships on my channel now where you can get some extra content, and that is also how you will see the live stream replays, and you can go and be a member just by clicking the buttons below. I do have my lives on Mondays, and everyone is always welcome. As always, make sure to stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.